which means it's time for Clarion Connection with Ron Wilshire. Ron, how are we doing this morning?
Great, Steve, except no guest today, so I thought we'd just talk about the news headlines and everything on Clarion Connection today. I was actually reading about the Encyclopedia Britannica. They've decided to stop publishing actual physical copies of their encyclopedia, and 2010's set is the last 32-volume set they'll print. Most of it will be online and everything now.
Now, I heard a lot of stories. Of course, it was prior to my time, but I really felt for those guys who went around selling the encyclopedias. You know, door-to-door encyclopedia salesmen. Right.
I remember them, and my family actually bought. It wasn't, the Britannica, but they actually bought one, and they were pretty expensive. I think the salesman always just got on commission or something. But I remember, there's something about having a physical copy there just to look, and then you could order reports from them for school. I guess that was the forerunner of the internet stuff that people copy now.
Yeah, but, the pre-Wikipedia.
Yeah, pre-Wikipedia. Well, actually, but at least with the encyclopedia, they were verified.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you imagine publishing an encyclopedia with just notes people sent in and kind of pasting it all together?
That would have been very interesting. I actually have a set in my basement right now. I think it was from the I want to say mid to later 80s and stuff like that of an encyclopedia of just a general, not a Britannica, but just a general encyclopedia. It's nice to pull those out every once in a while. I know things have changed in the last 30 years or whatever since that had been out, but
it's just kind of nice to browse through. Now you can do it on the internet with the various sites and that, but it is different to just sit down and look through it and go from there. Now, I know years ago, I don't know whether it's done too much anymore, but supermarkets would sell like one volume a week, and you could get the first one's like 99 cents, and then the second one $1.99, and they had all these. And they had not only encyclopedias, but they had other types of book sets and that you could buy, and it was always interesting. We always ended up with complete collections of the A to L category. You never got around to the Z's.
I was collecting handyman encyclopedias, and I would travel from Goodwill store to Goodwill store, and I ended up getting a whole collection of this one from, I think it dated back to 1967. Had everything from tuning a carburetor to building your own wooden camper to putting that dormer and an attic on your house, just in case you were feeling froggy and decided to put another level on your house.
Right. You may be one of the few people with a complete selection.
Now, that one's pretty interesting to dig out because a lot of this stuff, I know the technology has changed and building codes have changed, but some of the novel things that you can do for little things around your house, from designs for gazebos or planter boxes or things like that, still hold true. Just the equipment's changed. Right.
It's still the basic information that holds true. And that's kind of what you're left with in an encyclopedia. This is a base of knowledge. It'll be good forever, most of it. But, times do change. I was wondering, like you said, the people that went out and sold those, that was always interesting. That was a tough job. Sort of like there's people that stand out in front of the tax place in town and dressed as the Statue of Liberty. No. Now, that's quite a job. I wonder what that would look like on the resume.
I spoke with Minette Klepper, I believe it is, owns a Liberty Tax here, and we were talking about that, and it was one of those days where it was super windy, and I said, I bet you always see them outside, and whether it's rain, snow, whatever, and it's super windy, snowing, whatever. And I said, I walk past them, and they try to, they're smiling and happy as much as they can be. But deep inside, they're like, why did I sign up to be out here in 30-degree weather with 40-mile-an-hour winds and hold a sign and try not to fly away?
Good question, but they seem to have an energetic group there. I posted something on Facebook with that picture, and a number of people remarked in their towns and that they they're not so lucky with the people they hire to do that, and you'll get guys with real long hair and beards dressed up as Lady Liberty. Some people that obviously would have no connection with Lady Liberty doing that. So I guess we're pretty lucky there.
Yeah, it seems to work out pretty well. I just wonder. I'm just waiting for the next person to put one of those wooden split signs on that says like "Eat it Joe's" or "Eat it whatever," and walk around with the hamburger specials on up and down through Clarion. Now that would work.
With as many people out of work, well, occasionally you do see people standing out front. Usually it's like the mall, people were standing up with the signs, sale on, and, they have the placards like you talked about. And I suppose it's a way to get around zoning too, but it draws, because they're not physically, a sign's not drawn there, so there's nothing you can do. So you can walk around with a sign. Oh, that reminds me, I did see in the news where there's kind of a controversy developing where, with computers and mobile devices, you need a hotspot to hook up with the internet.
Right.
They're hiring homeless people to act as hotspots around that fair in Texas, SWX, I forget what it's called, and they have a device on them, and they're somehow connected, relay the signal, and they're hotspots.
They're mobile hotspots.
Mobile hotspots, and that's their job. And they accept donations or money for how many minutes you're on the internet connection. And so that's one of the most interesting jobs. A lot of people are saying, "No, that's not fair, making homeless people be hotspots."
But then again,
it's honest work.
Yeah, I mean that's a little different than with the tin cup and shaking it and stuff like that. At least they're doing something to instead of just panhandling.
Right, and a few people I saw interviewed, they were glad that they had a job. So when you're looking for a job,
that is very unique. Now, how would you put that on a resume? That's the one.
It'd probably be an electronic resume.
Yeah. What were you? I acted as a mobile hotspot for a couple of weeks.
I'm sure there's probably some euphemism in that people will use to, when you build resumes, how much you add to it.
Oh yes, yeah, so there's always that little fluff to make it to give you that edge, I guess.
Actually, a mobile hotspot in Clarion would be good, in case you don't want to go into McDonald's or a lot of the restaurants in town have them. I think Michelle's does and that type of thing. But who knows? It may grow. But I wanted to go over some of the newspaper items. That we could talk about what's in the news and everything, and just looking at, I'm not sure if there's too much to talk about. I was looking at the front page of Clarion News, and they're talking about a county looking at a open burn ban, and then they're talking about turkey manure, and there's 2 articles on sewage, and of course the basketball victories of the girl Bobcats and Panthers teams. They're advancing in gymnastics, and borough council plans to construct a sidewalk to Reinhardt villages. So, if you're not talking about burn bans or turkey manure or sewage, yeah, you're not in the flow of things.
Yes.
So to speak. But have much you've heard in the news?
There's most everything nowadays recently has been more sports dominated. We're pretty excited to have the privilege to be able to have the sponsorship and stuff to cover the state tournament basketball games here tonight. Well, when you listen to this on Sunday, this will be on Wednesday night. This past Wednesday, the Keystone and Clarion girls teams will be covering those. We also had the interviews. Our good friend Justin Scuba did some interviews with Keystone coach A.J. Johnson and Clarion coach Roger Walters as they get ready for the games and stuff, and getting ready to get down into the upper levels of the PIAA state tournament, which is a huge milestone in its own right, for the teams. If you start thinking about the teams that they'll be competing against, WPIAL champions, things like that. So,
What's all involved with a radio station covering those? I imagine there's a lot of extra adjustments you have to make.
There's things that we have to narrow down. First, we have to make sure that we have people that are available to do it. Mike Kalinowski and the Governor Bob Dunkel and Dustin Kiefer. All three of them do an excellent job with sports all year long, and definitely props to them. But we need to make sure that they can be available. They have to do a lot of the traveling. Fortunately, we got back-to-back games at Butler High School, so we're doing pretty well there. But sometimes, we may be in one part of the state and another part of the state for the group. We may be here, we may be somewhere else. So definitely give a lot of those, and we also bring people in to sit here and run live in studio. Justin Skiba has been doing an awful lot of that for us this year, and then also helping out with the coaches' interviews and stuff this season. And then, of course, the sponsorship, because it costs us. It's not a free thing. The PIAA and District 9s and KSAL, they charge for us to go, and then some places charges for the phone lines to use to even make that. Even though we may be calling and taking paying our dime for the long distance, we still have to pay to go and use that available right to that access line there. So without the sponsors and stuff like that, the great list of sponsors, I can't get through the number of them. But we wouldn't be able to bring it to us. That's why it's so important. And you can see the community reaching out and really supporting those teams.
Sure can. I was in church on Sunday, and they mentioned some accomplishments of the 10th grade, I think, confirmation class. And they were talking about it. And then they said, and by the way, such and such girls are on the teams that when everyone clapped. But... So very much people were interested, and it's a source of pride in the area. So in these games, you have two people from a remote location, and you have to have at least one person back here,
right, to
engineer it.
Yep, and then we also have a good relationship with RedZoneMedia.com and Clarion University and stuff, and we air them online, so you can be anywhere in the country or actually around the world and listen to your favorite local team. We got a call. This past football season, there's someone who called in because their grandma lived in California. I think it was their grandma in California wanted to hear little Johnny play football and wanted to know if we were carrying that game. And they were tickled pink that they could listen in California and hear the game as it went on from Memorial Stadium. So,
well, that's great. They also archive those games, so it's not just once and done.
You can go back and listen to back. You can go back a couple of years and listen to some of the Golden Eagle games from a couple seasons ago, or whatever else gets covered there. So
yeah, a lot of different options there. So and you broadcast them through the telephone lines
through the
back
phone
to the station here,
or through the Marty system, which is kind of a mini broadcast unit, depending on where we are location wise. So of course we can't get a shot. Only but so many miles away we can get a shot at a low power. But for those who maybe have scanners at home and some night you're going through and you happen to pick up a radio broadcast on one of the scanner frequencies, it's just something that happens because our mini unit, it can be picked up on scanner frequencies.
Oh.
Most of them get it. The IC church service will come through on a scanner.
Oh, right.
On Sunday morning. So
you don't have any hidden broadcasts on there, any secret broadcasts?
Not that Bill knows about. No, I'm just kidding.
Frank Stacy and Behind the News.
Yeah, Behind the News with Frank Stacy. Hey, that sounds like a winner there. We might have to do that.
Yeah. You could channel Les Nessman with it and do a turkey drop, or was it?
Yeah, we can do a turkey drop. Yeah. Oh, that was. I have that entire. I got that. I got a collection of the entire set of WKRP in Cincinnati for Christmas one year.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's one of my favorite watches.
Talk about archiving things. I noticed I was reading something about Netflix. That when they first rose to fame, it was more movies that you could rent, and they'd send them to you in the mail and that. But now they have a phenomenal amount of TV shows on DVD, and there's quite a market in that.
I'm a big fan. It's actually an HBO program. It's been off the air. It's Canadian. It was Trailer Park Boys, and I think I've watched the entire 7 seasons of Trailer Park Boys. Probably twice.
There were 7 seasons.
I think there were 7. Yeah, I think there's 7 seasons.
What was the show about, Steve?
Just some people who lived in a small Canadian trailer park and would get in trouble, and just their funny quirks and stuff like that. It is definitely not for the young, but it was a very interesting program, and I think I've watched it several times over. So.
It sounds like they could do that in many different locations.
Yes, yeah, and you know what? I had to watch it on Netflix because I couldn't get it anywhere else. So
Another rarity. Sort of like going to the Goodwill store to get the rest of the books.
Exactly. Yeah. I've nearly completed my Robert Jordan book collection of hardbacks by going to the different Goodwill stores and picking those up. So. And
Robert Jordan...
It's kind of a science fiction type book and through. I think he passed away and his final book came out. Mm-hmm. They released it right after he had passed and stuff like that. So
death doesn't seem to stop writers or musicians anymore. Jimi Hendrix is still pumping out
and I think
CDs.
I think Roy Orbison sold more copies of Pretty Woman after he had passed when the movie came out as opposed to whenever he was still alive.
Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. So, you were talking about sponsors earlier. I guess now would be a good time to take a break and stay tuned for more of Clarion Connection.
I'll have the grilled cheese, please.
Hot or cold?
Hot isn't grilled hot.
We're still looking to hire a cook for the summer season, so cold?
But your name is Hot Grilled Cheeseria.
Yeah, I can give you bread and cheese, and you can try grilling it on your exhaust manifold.
Don't be stuck without a chef or any other seasonal employee you need. Log on to ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com.
If you have heated seats, you could sit on it and have a panini.
Okay.
Post as many jobs as you like in minutes and use as many words as you want for one low price. ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results. Ms. Munchler, would you file these documents, please?
Oh, okay, after I take your temperature.
Why are you a receptionist?
Well, because I couldn't find a nursing job.
Then why didn't you go online and check out ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com?
Okay, sir, take off your shirt and I'll take your blood pressure.
They have hundreds of local jobs, hospital, sales, IT. Oops, sorry. She's just...
your blood pressure just went sky high.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I'm going to need a specimen. Take this...
Get out! ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
Lincoln Financial presents the Chief Life Officer Business Update. After 18 years with Ramirez Industries, Mike Ramirez will be leaving and relocating to a university this fall.
His father and Chief Life Officer had this to say.
Study hard, son.
This Chief Life Officer Business Update is brought to you by Lincoln Financial. We protect your family and help secure your future. Take charge at lincolnfinancial.com/CLO. Products and financial services provided by the Lincoln National Life Insurance Company, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and New York. Lincoln Life and Annuity Company of New York, Syracuse, New York.
When Cooper Tire engineered the new Discoverer AT3, we set out to meet your expectations for SUV or light truck Discoverer tire from Cooper. The new AT3 builds on our popular Discoverer technology and excels in traction, stability, and handling on all surfaces, in all weather, all the time, making it a great all-terrain tire choice for your SUV or light truck. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Check out the Discoverer AT3 at Carly Tire in Clarion. Carly Tire, the area's largest selection of tires.
These days, the concept of value matters more than ever. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a better value than high school sports. Extracurricular activities, including sports, make up about 2% of the budget for a typical Pennsylvania high school. In return, participation in sports promotes citizenship and sportsmanship. Sports also instill a sense of community pride and teach lifelong lessons about cooperation and self-discipline. They encourage physical fitness. They produce community leaders. By offering so many benefits to the community for such a small percentage of a school's overall budget, it's easy to see why high school sports are one of the best bargains around. The real cost would come from not having them at all. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Pennsylvania State Athletic Directors Association.
Take this job and shove it.
Welcome back to Clarion Connection. I'm Ron Wilshire with Scuba Steve here with me, just talking about some things in the news. By the way, how did you get the name Scuba?
I've been asked that quite a few times, and
this is the first time for the record, though.
Yeah, this will probably be for the actual books. There was a movie that came out several years ago, and it was Big Daddy with Adam Sandler, and where he kind of adopted a child, or was trying to adopt a child. And
this is one of his more serious movies.
Yeah, one of his more. Yeah, and it came out right around that time, and certainly my friends kind of adopted that as a great phrase. Now, last summer, I actually I got hooked up with Ray Renard's Freedom Rental. We were talking one day, and he gave me the number for this Explore Scuba class that I took. And I actually went up to the Brookville Y, and I loved it. It was absolutely incredible. Now, my schedule and the training schedule didn't quite work out, but basically it was a way to go up and get an idea see if you like it. They gave you use their equipment. They gave you the basics, and you tooled around the pool at the Y. I had so much fun. That's all I talked about for 3 weeks afterwards. But I wish my schedules could have matched up for it. Maybe this year, maybe in the summer of Steve, it will work out together, and it will actually come to fruition, and I can get certified. But that, it's just one of those things that it started out there, and it's like, you know what, let me give this a try, because it's something I've always wanted to do, and I encourage anybody, for the next time you see an Explore Scuba class come around, no, you're not picking my brain, but you're actually checking out what's going on under the water.
Just tell them Scuba Steve sent you.
Exactly. So there you go. There's
the rest of the story.
Yeah, there's
maybe
the
that'll
rest of
show
the
up
story.
on a scanner somewhere. The secret broadcast. Let's talk a little bit about some things going on in the area. This past weekend, Rotary conducted its annual Rotary radio auction. I'm a member of Rotary, and offered well over $30,000 in value for people just to bid on. It's always kind of surprising that people do support it. The merchants really support it. They donate everything that's for auction on the show, and then all the profits, the proceeds, are used for local service projects, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But the products that are offered are very, very wide, and people can get some real bargains there. It's interesting this year. In the past, savings bonds were always big, and what would happen is someone would say, "Yeah, I'll sponsor that," and then you'd go buy a savings bond for it. But now, I believe you can't go buy savings bonds for someone. You have to do it yourself online.
That's very intriguing to me, how that would work out. I mean, it kind of makes sense on the whole cut back paperless and making it more convenient for people, but does it really make it more convenient? What do you do? Do you just print out a photocopy, a copy of it? 'Cause, it's one of those things that would be nice to have, to say, okay, I found this one and it's good, That's very unique to me that would be done online.
Did you ever redeem a savings bond at the bank?
No, I've never had that privilege.
We had some taken out for payroll deduction, years ago, and we redeemed them. And boy, those poor bank people, they have to physically write everything down, the numbers and that, and then they have to retrieve the value, because the value isn't automatic; it fluctuates. A lot of paperwork there, and that may have influenced things too. So. But the Rotary Radio Auction, great things for sale, and we have an 800 number that people can call up, and so it's always a good day for Rotary and the community.
It was incredible, and you mentioned about the wide range of items. I mean, from gift certificates to, I think there was season athletics passes for some of the schools, to the new iPad. It's not even. It's on order, it's to the new iPad and some of the other super gifts. I think somebody said a hot tub. There may have been a hot tub this year. There were so many things that I couldn't remember, and it was also another great showing of the community for all the donations and stuff like that, and all the people that called in, because inevitably we get a million calls here because we air it and, we relay stuff along of how to get a hold of them. But I was talking with a few people that didn't really realize that's one of the big fundraisers for the Rotary, and they're already making plans for next year and figuring out how much they want to put back and all the stuff that they can do, and they really want to help out this upcoming year.
Right. I know one of the projects that Rotary's adopted is supporting efforts to get the Clarion Pole back open for this season, and Rotary's agreed to fund $5,000 of those efforts and donate 100 hours of work in getting the pool back in where Jamie Simpson from Borough Council is leading those efforts on council.
The pool is such a very interesting part, and we spoke with some people just a few weeks ago about the pool and the importance of it in the community and things to that nature. So it's really good to hear that was a big focus of the Rotary Club this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of work I understand they have to do to get it repaired, including scraping and repainting the inside of the pool and installing a lift for handicapped access. And I think they're doing some work in the bathhouse and the roof, perhaps. But it's a number of different groups coming together. It's not just Rotary, but it's a whole community, which is really good because it is a community pool. It's not just a borough pool. It's a community pool. And
I'm sure any volunteers who would like to come out and help out on those work days and add to the workforce, I'm sure they won't be turned away. I'm sure Jamie would appreciate that. I may have Jamie on the show in the future just to talk about how it's going, and probably a last call for some help too in pulling it all together. It'll be pretty remarkable if they get it done. So, but we're all keeping our fingers crossed. Community seems a little bit better in the summer for it. Oh yeah, and I grew up going to the limestone pool, which is no longer open. So I have a ton of memories growing up when actually summers got into the 90-degree level of swimming in that spring water fed 70, 60 degree water of the limestone. I remember pool. that water was so cold all the time, and they used to have attractions down there. I know the glass plant used to have picnics down there. Mm-hmm. Well, even Rotary had picnics down there, later. And it was a real community resource, but the water was so cold. Oh, it usually took till about July before it got to your average swimming pool temperature, and heaven forbid if you had a week of rain somewhere in there. But there's nothing like getting out playing football or riding, like I'd ride, down or whatever, and in a 90-some degree day, and then jumping into water that was like, it'd take your breath away as soon as you hit it. It was like, it's like going up to Clear Creek and wading around up there, So limestone helped prepare you for your scuba days. Yes, it certainly got you accustomed to coldness. So tell me a little bit more about this Summer of Steve. I should go echo Summer of Steve. Summer of Steve is going to involve a lot of fishing. I might have some fishing sick days. Sorry, Bill, if you're listening, but I might. But I want to get out and I'm coming to a point where you start to realize how time is flying by. I mean, we got class reunions coming up here this year, and I start to realize that the last 10, 15 years and beyond have gone by just, and there's so much stuff that you never get a chance to do, and you always say you'll do it later. And I don't want to be the do it later anymore. I want to go out and go on my fishing trips. I want to go race around a track. I want to, whatever. Actually ride a bicycle for more than 500 yards without being winded. Things like that. Aim high. Aim high, Well, that's good. You'll have to get a hold of our friend Jack Gearing now. He's a master fisherman. That's what I hear. He's probably got a line in the water right now. He probably does. I'm sure he has his transistor radio with him and listening to this right now on AM 13, right? Probably. Well, Ron, it looks like we're almost out. Great. Enjoyed talking with you today. We'll have a more traditional guest next week on Clarion Connection, but thanks for listening.